Is one thing to hire vendors, is another thing, and your responsibility to be hospitable to them. We came and were only mentioning my name, oh, Prinye, and that was when I knew that I was in trouble.
The Wedding Prep by NE Weddings.
Hello everyone, I am Prinye Opusunju, the CEO of Meals by Prinye's Heat and Prinye's Heat Culinary School, and this is the Wedding Prep. As an event caterer, one of the mistakes that couples make is not including their vendors as part of the invitees. You see, let's take for instance an event where we are expecting like 200 guests. And you see the couple, they will always say, okay, we are making for 200 guests. I think that that's a huge mistake because you are meant to involve your vendors. A conventional Nigerian wedding has an average of 30 vendors. That's at least. Let's look into the bouncers. You have like 4 bouncers, 6 ushers. We have MCs, 1 or 2, makeup artists, 2 to 3. You have the decorators that are up to 6. You have photographers, videographers, content creators that are almost 10. We even have the event planning team, the band players, other vendors in the hall, and you say you don't want to add to this number. What happens is that they come to the caterer and they ask for food. And sometimes the caterer will give them food, thereby shortening the supply of food that was meant to be given to the guests. So I think that this is a very huge mistake. Every intending couple should add at least a number of 30 more. So whenever clients come to us, what we do is to suggest to them that they should add extra 30. For instance, if your guest list is 150, you can approximate it to 200 so as to accommodate your vendors. Is one thing to hire vendors, is another thing, and your responsibility to be hospitable to them. Another mistake I see couples make is appointing their relatives to oversee the caterer's activities. I think that this is quite laughable because you see them trying to tend to their guests, giving them preferential treatment. And in giving them this preferential treatment, they disrupt the flow of service, which is not meant to be. Before you see an event successful, know that a caterer has already apportioned tables to her servers to serve well. Now you see this family member saying, oh, this person just came all the way from Aba, for instance. We always have that relative that comes, that says, oh, so there are some people that are coming from Enugu, coming from Lagos, coming from Aba, when they have not even shared. That is the disadvantage of bringing relatives to oversee something. You gave a contract to a caterer. I believe that that caterer is professional enough to share food in a timely manner and in a professional way. Involving these extra bodies will bring a lot of chaos, misunderstanding, because they will not know how the flow of service is meant to be done. Another mistake that couples make is setting unrealistic number of guests for the caterer to cater to. You know fully well that your guest list is more than 300, 400, yet you pay for 200 and expect the caterer to perform magic. It's never done. A caterer might tell you that, oh, we are making extra plates. The truth is, I make extra plates. But do you expect me to make 100 extra plates? The answer is no. Then let us see in a setting where the guest number is above the supply that was ordered for. Everybody looks at the caterer as a bad person. But the truth is that a professional caterer will not come and start telling every guest that needs to hear that this is the number of persons that she was paid for. It's not possible. That's not professional. So I think that couples should look into that. There was an event I catered for last year, June. The groom contacted me to cater for 300 guests and told me that the mom was coming with an extra caterer all the way from Enugu. So the plan was that whenever 2 caterers are catering for an event, you're meant to have one wing and the other caterer the other. We came and were only mentioning my name, oh, Prinye. When they were calling vendors, they were saying Prinye's Heat, and that was when I knew that I was in trouble. The caterer that came all the way from Enugu served only angara. She gave garden eggs and granite, and that was it. Came with only 4 chaffing dishes. And everybody in the hall expected me to serve them, which is 600. No matter how professional a caterer is, once the number of guests supersedes her expectation, people will look at them like unprofessional, and that was what happened. Now, if you are a guest that was in that scene, you would just think that the caterer hoarded food. We need to set realistic number of guests that attend events so that we can avoid this kind of scenarios, because it was not really looking good on the caterer. So it's not right. It's not right for you to invite guests that are above your budget or above your expectation. If you know that you are expecting 400 guests, please invite 200, because you know that they will come en masse. Another mistake that couples make is setting unrealistic time for their reception. Let's say, for instance, a couple contracts you to cater and they tell you that the reception starts by 12. We'll go there and you see the reception starting by 5. Before a caterer arrives the hall by 11, we are so professional that we arrive 1 hour, 30 minutes before the event. So before we got there by 10:30, 11, we must have started cooking by 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So that's a bit of time. Now, in microbiology, there's what they call holding time for food. And there is a holding time for each type of food before microorganisms start acting on them. Now you set your time by 12 and you are coming to the reception hall by 4. What do you expect will happen to your meals? Most of them will start getting bad. And they will start tagging the caterer unprofessional, a bad caterer, giving her names. That's really wrong. That's totally wrong. I witnessed a caterer being called out on social media because of this. And when I read her story, I totally understood. There was a catering gig I had at Okrika. The guy contracted me. We got there by 12. He said that the event, it was a traditional marriage, a closed one for 100 guests. And he said it would start by 1. We got there by 12, did our setup and everything, relaxed and waited to serve. But this event started by 7 p.m. We were worried. I had to text the groom and we said, "Sir, we are no longer responsible for whatever happens to your meal because you are not meant to blame the caterer." So I think that we should set the intended couple should set a realistic time for their events, for their reception to start, because it's not the caterer's fault if meals start getting bad after a long number of waiting hours. Dear intended couples, these mistakes we've just highlighted is not to scare or discourage you, but to help you avoid making same. Your wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and we want you to make the best of it.
The Wedding Prep by NE Weddings.